Hello, this is Dr. Alana Coffee, and welcome to a Bamboo and Tea with Dr. Coffee interview. We are outside having interviews that are safe and distant, but fun and thrilling nonetheless. But being outside means that there will be ambient noise like airplanes, cats, dogs, chickens, anything could happen. Thank you in advance for your patience. My interviewee today, my guest, really needs no introduction. This man is an artist, international, and has been at the top of his game for decades. And I'm just so honored that he's here talking with us today. And so allow me to introduce Kim Taylor Reece.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Hi.
Hi, my friend.
I know, we've known each other for a long time.
Well, funny you should say that. So our producer put this here in front because this is, I'm just going to go ahead and show it because I'm so proud of it. 1986 98 rock calendar that was shot by you.
Hottest station in Hawaii.
Right, 98 rock. And this is yours truly, Miss October 1986. Oh my gosh, that 98 rock sweetheart, that was so fun. And what was great about it is that you were the photographer, all of us girls. Many of us are still in touch, by the way. I don't know if you know that.
I think I went to a party one time with about 5 or 6.
Yeah, that's right. We got together. We had a little 98 rock reunion, sweetheart fun. Reunion. Yeah. And, you know, at that time, we were so young. I think I may have been 19. Yeah. I think I was 21. And I had no idea that I would be a part of a group of women photographed by you. That is just so amazing.
Yeah, I never thought about it like that. But
I mean, well, every time I see one of your pictures, I'm like, I was shot by him too. It comes up for me. But yes, so Kim, you know, thank you again for coming. I just want to ask you a little bit about what inspired you to get started.
Actually, I studied art from the time I was a little kid. My mom, I was the oldest of 5 kids, so my mom would take us to museums and art galleries, and like, what are you going to do with 5 kids? You know, you don't take them to the grocery store; they're all over the place. Right. So
you take them to the museum.
Yeah, don't touch anything. But no, and then she had a lot of art books and that kind of stuff, and she always kind of, you know, talked to us about art, showed us magazines, showed us books, that kind of stuff, and I really got inspired by that and other artists, and so I studied art through school, high school and all of that, and then I got into college, and I was majoring in art at Long Beach State, and I'm originally from California, and I started taking the art classes, and the teachers figured out, well, buddy, you're colorblind. You're going to be a starving artist, so you need to change your major.
Wow.
So I left Long Beach State and I went up to San Jose State because nobody had an advertising major back in those days. Now they do, but everybody thought I was like some kind of a mercenary. It's like, why are you taking advertising? But I thought it related to art, and really it related to business. And so I think that's one of the things that kind of made it easier for me to be a successful artist, because I knew the principles of business and just basic how to run a lemonade stand is about all it is.
Wow.
But I incorporated that later in my art. And after working for 10 years in advertising here in Honolulu, I finally decided that, you know, the television commercials and the radio copy and all that kind of stuff I was doing was interesting, and I really enjoyed it, but I really wanted to get back into art. And so I started photographing dancers, and there was a dancer one time down on 4th Street Mall with the Hawaiian Airlines band, and she was like dancing and performing, and I was in 4th Street Mall because my office was in the AmFac building, or Tapa Tower, or whatever that is down there now, and the dancer was just like, she was like looking at me and kind of like yelling, or just like, you know, hey, pay attention kind of a thing. And I got the pictures back, and I thought, yeah, this is a great dancer, so much passion and energy and all of that. And I looked at it, and she had like leather sandals on, and it's like, I can't use this. So, but what happened, years later, I was in the darkroom in my gallery up at Sacred Falls, and I ran across those negatives, and I looked at it, and it was the same girl that was the first poster that I published.
Oh,
and
you're kidding.
No, it's just weird. I had no idea.
Who was that?
Her name was Loxley Paskaya.
Is that she?
Yeah.
Oh, please just show straight like that. I mean, that's an
my
iconic
wife makes me
image.
phone cases.
Yeah, red bubble. That is an iconic image.
I had no idea that it was the same girl.
Wow.
Like years and years later, I'm in the dark room and I'm, looking through stuff, and it was like, there it was. It was like, oh, that's really weird.
Wow.
But what happened is I started photographing dancers, and I did that for about, I guess, 3 years before I was able to, quit my day job, or, stop being in advertising. And I published 3 or 4 posters, and this one and a bunch of others just kind of took off, and I said, okay, I can quit my day job now. And so I've done photography and working with dancers for the last more than 40 years now.
Amazing.
Of course, when I shot you, we were only...
we won't talk about when. But, I think that not a lot of people understand that artists are also business people.
You need to be. Right. Not all of them are.
I mean, and you've really had to work hard to do, I think, intellectual property issues, because people, can you talk to that a little? I mean, if you don't mind.
Yeah. No, one of the things that I run into all the time, because my stuff is, all over the world now, and people really, really seem to like it, but I will get people who will copy it and trace it and use it for their logos for the biggest retailer in the world. I won't mention who they are, but you can Google them. And other people will take the images and they will just trace them and use them for their businesses and their companies. And that was one of the things I never expected to have to deal with in art, is all the legal aspects of it. The artists are protected under the Burns International Copyright Treaty, and the United States and the other countries have laws to protect the artists from their intellectual property stuff. Because if you're going to be a creator and you're going to create things, if you're not getting compensated for that, if you can't make money off of that, then there's no reason for you to create anything or invent anything or make anything that's new or helps society or makes people pay attention to different cultures and that kind of stuff. If you're not going to be able to support yourself doing that, it's like, you might as well go to the beach. Why be an artist?
Why? Right? Because then you're just giving away your expertise, wisdom, your gifts for free, right?
Yeah. And a lot of times I do that. I'm a volunteer right now
Yes,
at the Arts and Parks, but I mean, if somebody's going to do that, and I think most artists would appreciate if, the people that are doing that would, check in and go, hey, do you mind if I do this? Or, what do you want to...
Don't steal it.
Yeah.
Ask, if anything. Yeah.
So that was something that I really didn't expect being an artist. I knew that I was going to have to market, and I was going to have to do public relations stuff and do a lot of benefits. But I think for an artist, you can be Michelangelo, you can be the best artist in the world, but if you're not out there and you're not telling people about yourself and about your work and about why you're doing it or what you're doing, you're going to be a starving artist, like my teacher said. I kind of took that colorblind handicap, though, and worked with it, because what I was interested in, my dad was a Pearl Harbor survivor. He was here when they bombed Pearl Harbor.
Which is, a whole nother, I was like, I need a whole nother hour.
I know, I told him, my name is Bala Owl, which is motor mouth in Hawaiian.
Love you. Keep coming.
No, well, my dad was a Pearl Harbor survivor. Oh my God, I've got another story. And my wife can always says I shouldn't tell this story, but my dad was here when they bombed Pearl Harbor, and the reason he survived, because he was on Liberty and he was on Hotel Street.
Oh, Kanoi's right.
I shouldn't tell that story.
But it just makes you so much more human.
Oh yeah, God. Anyway, he would come back with all of these stories, not those stories, but the stories of the South Pacific and all the islands and the places he had traveled. And he really, really loved Hawaii, and he loved the people of Hawaii. And so I always had kind of Hawaii ingrained in my brain from the time I was a little kid, because my dad used to love to talk about that. And you know, when I got here, my brother was surfing over here, and I was up in San Francisco, and he goes, you know, come over here and try this out for a year and see how you like it. When I got here and I saw the hula, it was like cellophane skirts. It was like the Elvis Presley movie, and it's like, no, this isn't what I'm looking for at all. And when I was over at Iolani Palace one time, this is back in the 70s, late 70s, but Frank Hewitt brought out his halau, and they were dancing Hula Kahiko, or Hula Alapa, the ancient hula, and it was so powerful and so strong. I still get chicken skin thinking about it.
I was going to say, it's not just any dancing.
No.
You are really targeting on that powerful manifestation. It's almost like, you know, bringing in the goddess. You know, it's so you can viscerally feel the power through the photograph.
Yeah, and that's what I want. That's my connection. I have taken my images, and I started photographing the dancers to use for sketches and drawings, because that's what I was trained in, and that's what I do in paintings. But what happened is, after I did that, in fact, I did a show, 10 years ago. I did a show, well, this is, I'm going up. Anyway, when I painted this stuff, to me, it lost a generation. It lost the impact. It lost the intensity and the emotional connection that I want to share with other people that see it. Yeah. And so I stuck with photography. I never took a photography class. I learned how to figure it out back when it was all film and that kind of stuff. I did take a darkroom class, or, you know, hung out with the guys over at Pro Lab. All the photographers would hang out at this one lab over in town. But I just stayed with photography, and I knew what I wanted it to look like. I knew what I wanted to have other people feel and see. I knew what I wanted to communicate, and most people got it, and it just kind of took off for me.
So what I want people to understand about photography 40 years ago was not necessarily considered an art, right? I mean, I think it was Ansel Adams that really brought that into, this is an art form, not just oil painting and watercolors, but photography itself, because before that, I think it was considered to be, you know, sort of a tool of marketing. Right. But it is unmistakable, your work. It is absolutely art. But, you know, you brought in a generation, you came in with a generation of photographers for whom the picture was an art. Yeah. It wasn't just a captured image. It was actually a complete story in of itself. So,
and the museums and the galleries and all that picked it up. And I mean, I'm lucky I got into it because I started buying a lot of other photographers' work, and now it's really valuable.
Right. And I also want the listeners to hear that you are an autodidact. You did not take a photography class. So people can be self-taught, like you taught yourself this thing. And I think the people should know that they can do just about anything they really want to try to do.
Yeah, if persevere. You're focused and you do that. Yeah. And that's my whole thing. When I talk to kids at like career day at high school, it's longevity, it's persevere, it's focus. It's just if you love what you do and you can feel it and other people can get it, not everybody's going to get it, but if you're committed to that, then the whole thing is persevere, longevity. Yeah. It's just how long can you do this and love this and share it with other people and have them. I did a lot of research in the Bishop Museum for like 3 years. I thought I lived in the Ray Jerome Baker collection. And that's a photography collection in the Bishop Museum from one of the guys that had the first cameras in Hawaii. And I studied what was going on with that. And then I went back and I studied the drawings and the paintings and stuff of the early Hawaiians, and I tried to get the costume and stuff together. And I really, really got into that. The other thing was that I found I would go to different halau or hula troops, and I would sit there through their practice, and then I'd go to their performances and that kind of stuff. And I'd do that for like a year with one and a year with another. And I found that each Kumu Hula or hula teacher had kind of a family or a regional style. So all of the Hula Kahikos are going to be different because they're telling different stories. And the thing with the Hula Kahiko is it tells a story. It's not a pretty swishy,
like Awana,
Waikiki
so lovely.
dance. Yeah. No, I love that. I mean, it's beautiful, but it just doesn't do it for me like in an image or a photograph. But I was able to connect with people, and they could feel that energy and the passion of the dancers, which is like really, really important. And I feel that's kind of what energizes me, is like when you're with a dancer and that kind of energy where they just focus, they forget I'm even there, and they're like, it's like they're meditating on a different plane. And for me to be able to be part of that and catch that on my film and be able to share it with people all over the world, it's like, it's been really, really fun and really rewarding. I love what I do.
You can feel that, you know. And the special thing is that you did not change it.
No.
You observed what was happening, and you didn't come in and say, we're going to add this piece to it.
Yeah, no.
There's that ambient noise that I was talking about. You know, we could talk all day.
I know.
And you know, and I have loved having my time with you because, you know, you're special to me. This photograph will
always been special to me.
You're so special to me. And, you know, very much part of my self-narrative growing up, you know, I was like, photograph, I can't Taylor Reece.
No, that's why I get girls to come up and go, you know, you asked me one time, and now I'm like 55 years old, and I wish I would have said yeah. You know, it's like, what happened?
Yeah, I said yeah. So
Yeah.
thank you. You know, and so, you know, now you're doing some volunteer work, which is really near and dear. The Arts at Mark's Garage, my sister-in-law, Kim Coffee Isaac, started it 20 years ago. She opened that gallery.
Yeah,
And I think we're at 20 years now. I was on the board for a little bit, and I know it's hard work.
Oh.
I know by watching her. I know by volunteering myself.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
They kind of, the pandemic came along. They had an executive director that didn't really know how to run a lemonade stand, and the thing just crashed in the water. I was on their board, and somehow as a volunteer board member, and then right after, the president of the board, you know, said, okay, my time's over. They pointed at me and said, okay, you get to do this. And it's like, no. Yeah, no. Well, we came in January. They had $197 in the bank account. The rent's like $10,000. It's like, okay, what are we going to do? So we were able in the last, it took us about 6 months, but we were able to pull this thing out from underwater.
Amazing.
And it's floating. It's in a boat right now, and I kind of need to bring some more people in to like get a big sail going and make this thing fly, because we almost lost it, and it's been there for 20 years.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like the cornerstone of where most of the artists in Honolulu like started their work, and now look at them. I mean, there's Jody Endicott and all these other people that it's like, oh my God. So it's such an important place and such a hub for new artists, and you know, excuse me, mimosa. Never mind. We're on a different flight. Yeah. No, but no, the artists that are in there, I mean, they're just really, really great artists, and the whole concept of that place is to kind of get the neighborhood together and bring up and mentor new artists and that kind of stuff, which for me it's kind of frustrating once in a while. But Kanoe goes, you know, let them learn how to pound a nail, or let them learn how to put a wire on the back of a frame, kind of thing. Don't do it for them.
Love it.
But no, now it's doing great. We have been doing a new show every month, an art show, and then there's a performance space that is really fun. You never know what's going to go on there. I mean, from slam poetry to yoga to...
I think there's some burlesque lessons.
There's burlesque. You can go over and take burlesque lessons. Yeah.
Not for the grown-up audience.
Yeah. But you'd be surprised how many girls come over and do that. No, it's a fun class. I mean, it's not... You got your clothes on.
Yeah.
It's like, it's burlesque. It's not...
We know, Kim. It's okay.
Yeah, okay, good. But I mean, there's so many things going on there. Like we have new musicians and people like that are doing their CD release parties over there. And it's kind of one of those things where if you have something and you want to do it or you want to try it out, if you want to produce a play or whatever, you can come over there and we're open to whatever you want to do. Dance how you want to dance. Adam's family.
I mean, it is community space. You know, we do have to end, but what I want to say is thank you for coming, and thank you for everything that you've done. The Arts at Marks is very fortunate to have you because you've had many galleries. You've won many awards as an artist, and you know, really your skill and talent is, you know, top notch. So thank you for lending them yourself.
Yeah, I didn't realize I would be going in there and starting a whole new business from
I know, that's how it goes.
Talk about hard work.
So if anybody is interested in donating to artists or the arts, please, you know, contact the Arts at Mark's Garage and make a donation, and let's keep that space open for, you know, our community. You know, we all need to have that kind of space.
Right now we have a thing called The Art of Caring. I don't know where you're going to air this, but it's about people who take care of their family and their kapuna when they get older, and it's a beautiful show coming up. But I mean, we're taking down Pride Month and we're bringing in kapuna, and then so we got a lot of stuff going on.
I love it.
Yeah.
It is so good to see you. I'm going to give him a hug in a minute, but this is for that. Thanks, Tim.
Thank you.
All right. Aloha, folks. Thank you.
Aloha.